All right, and we are live. Welcome DoorGrow hackers to the DoorGrow show. If you are a property management entrepreneur that wants to add doors, make a difference, increase revenue, help others, impact lives, and you are interested in growing your business and life, and you're open to doing things a bit differently, then you are a DoorGrow hacker. DoorGrow hackers love the opportunities, daily variety, unique challenges, and freedom that property management brings. Many in real estate think you're crazy for doing it. You think they're crazy for not, because you realize that property management is the ultimate high trust gateway to real estate deals, relationships, and residual income. At DoorGrow, we are on a mission to transform property management businesses and their owners. We want to transform the industry, eliminate the BS, build awareness, change perception, expand the market, and help the best property management entrepreneurs win. I'm your host, property management growth expert, Jason Hull, the founder and CEO of DoorGrow. Now, let's get into the show. All right, and today's guest is Kyle Redding of Proper. And we're going to be learning about what Proper is now, because I think we've had you guys on the show before and it's different. So
That's true.
Kyle, welcome to the DoorGrow show. Glad to have you. And let's get into your background, and maybe you could share people kind of your entrepreneurial journey. I think you have a cool story, and I think that'd be fun to get into first.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. This is exciting. Thanks for having us. So I played baseball in college. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. Kind of fell into accounting, right? Might sound a little crazy, but accounting 101 was one of those classes that I took and got 100% in. Don't ask me how, but it just happened. So, while playing baseball, I was like, okay, I think I can do this. You travel a bit, you miss a bunch of classes, but still somehow kind of worked it out. So that kind of evolved into an internship with Ernst & Young, and then ultimately a full-time job. So I ended up at EY in Orange County, California for about 5 years or so in the real estate group. So a lot of my clients were public REITs or real estate developers, things like that. And so I ultimately then transferred out to Australia, where I worked with EY, again, with some real estate clients and some other industries, things like that. But, ultimately, kind of got out of the public accounting game and was attracted towards, startup life. And so I found this little startup in Australia that was looking for, an accountant that could sell. I thought I'd give this a crack. And we were a little, finance online payment company in the professional services. So all of our clients were accounting firms and law firms. We got really deep into the accounting industry and the CPA world and how they run their businesses and things like that. So we grew that business and brought it to the US about 4 years ago now. Took that company public in July last year. And then, whilst that kind of happened, I'd always stayed in touch with one of my best friends, Matt, who is our COO and head of finance at Proper. And Mark, his old college roommate from USC. They used to make surfboards, and we always used to hang. Matt and I worked at Ernst & Young together. So at that kind of time, Proper was really trying to solve a lot of different challenges for property management companies, mainly, on the maintenance side, which I think you guys have talked about before. But, Mark, our CEO, is just religious about user research and, first principles way of thinking, breaking down problems and finding the best solution for those sorts of problems, which is how we ended up, coming back to Matt and I's core background from the CPA world in real estate and addressing that, whilst this maintenance side of things is kind of a nice to have and people want that to be better, the real true problem that we found was on the accounting side, right? A lot of the property managers don't necessarily get into this business because they like doing the accounting or they know how to do the accounting. It's because, like you said, that it feeds into their real estate sales. It allows them to grab hold of these owners and these properties and develop other business opportunities. But that at the end of every month, the key deliverable that they all have is a financial package on that owner's investment. And so that's where we are today, helping a lot of property management companies solve that challenge and get better and focus on growth as opposed to, running a cost center and operations.
Cool. So let's get into how would you describe Proper now to those that are listening? What does Proper do?
Yeah, sure. We partner with property management companies to help automate their back office, essentially. So, from everything from AR to AP to bank recs to owner reporting, um, we use very high caliber accountants who have all got a accounting degree from a good university. They've worked at a big four accounting firm. They've worked at a Fortune 500 accounting firm, and we power our team with machine learning and automation, artificial intelligence, to help make their job easier and allow our clients, the property managers, to scale a lot faster without having to worry about hiring more staff or training those people, or maybe delaying bringing on more portfolio because they need to do those things before they can, get to that next step. So, we focus on accounting automation.
So help me understand then how that works. So most property management entrepreneurs and business owners that are listening to the show right now, they're probably thinking, well, I've already got Appfolio, I've already got Rent Manager, I've already got Buildium, I've got a property management, sort of back office or accounting solution or whatever. Is Proper something that you guys are positioning yourself to replace these tools, or is it something we'll work in conjunction? How does this work?
Good question. We work alongside all of those tools. So a lot of our clients, we've got a big mix, right? We don't just work in Appfolio. We don't just work in Propertyware. We've got clients that use Buildium, use Yardi, Appfolio, Propertyware, Rent Manager, you name it, right? We've even got clients who start out with QuickBooks, and then as we help them grow, we transition them to something more appropriate, like a property management software. So see, right now we're not looking to replace any of those tools. We help optimize them for our clients. We help them set up a foundation to better utilize those and then manage those as well. And a big part of what we do is helping them set up the appropriate level of internal controls, right? Are they set up for growth? Is that foundation there to really, pile on top of? So, when we take on a new client, a lot of times it's retooling the way they've set up Appfolio or Buildium or Propertyware. It's helping them get their approval matrices set up. It's all of those things to create efficiency, get them out of the weeds of the mundane, repetitive, low-level tasks that are, essentially a time suck from their day. Put that onto our plate and get them back out into the field so they can grow their business.
So it's not just accounting. You guys are helping with some of the operational aspects as well.
Correct. Yeah. So what we found is, depending on the property manager and the company and the way they're kind of staffed, there's a lot of weaving in and out of that accounting process. There's a property manager who might spend 10 to 15% of their day doing some sort of accounting function that they probably shouldn't be doing, right? And so, the other side of that is, the broker owner going, I wish my PMs were out there leasing these vacant apartments I've got, but they're stuck doing this paperwork because there's no one else to do it, or it's part of a process that they set up that hasn't been, revisited or fine-tuned. So we help alleviate all those, little bits of pieces there that then create more capacity for them to, focus on what they want to focus on.
Got it. Okay, cool. So is this difficult to get going, get set up? And is there a certain kind of level that a property management business owner has to be at before it would make sense to work with you guys?
Yeah, good question. So the first one, well, let me tackle that second question first, which is, do we have a minimum or certain size? Short answer is no. We've got clients who have as little as 6 units. We've got clients who, start with us at, say 30 units and grow to 50, 60 within 3 months. But, I'd probably say where it starts to make the most sense, where, they can kind of move away from that one part-time admin or office staff, handling some of these admin related tasks or accounting related tasks. Generally, when they get to that kind of 30, 40 unit mark and they're starting to gain some momentum and get a little serious, is when we can, usually help them get to that next level. Where we see a clear difference is, with some of these property managers who we call, in this sophistication fog, right? They've kind of half gotten their Appfolio or Yardi to do some things for them, but they still have some low-level staff that may or may not have an accounting background, and they're essentially ticking off things on the checklist on a daily basis to help get that job done. But there isn't really an optimization to that process yet. It hasn't really been optimized, and we can come in and create efficiencies for them and help them ultimately have them repurpose those people to maybe a more interesting role or a more revenue generating role, and then start to use some automation and fine tune their property management software to do more for them.
So when it comes to the automation and the technology side, do you guys have kind of a homegrown software that's like running and doing this stuff? Are you using a certain software platform that you work within?
Yeah, good question. So we built and continue to optimize and build other tools mainly around AP. So our goal is to kind of attack one of these functions at a time. So we found by measuring our accountant's time that on average, right, it averages unit averages, but it definitely ranges, but on average it takes about 5 minutes and 59 seconds to process an invoice, right? And so we built a proprietary tool that allows us to take that 5 minutes and 5 minutes and 59 seconds down to say 30 seconds. So then from a scaling perspective, if that property manager then takes on another 200 units, there isn't a fear of being able to handle that, and we don't need to staff another 5 people on their account to get that work done. We can continue getting through that work at a very high accuracy rate by training our model over and over with the different types of invoices that we see.
Got it. Okay, cool. So how are the property managers feeding stuff into the system? Is it they're feeding it into Proper?
So we, just like, maybe a more sophisticated property manager might have set up where, let's say 70 to 80% of their invoices from third-party vendors are coming in by email. They might have a dedicated inbox, ap@xyzpm.com, right? Or billing at xyzpm.com, right? So if they don't already have something like that set up, then we'll help create something like that. And then we'll work with their vendors and their team to start training those invoices to come through to that inbox, at which point we can then ingest them and start processing them through our automation tools.
Got it. Cool. So what are some of the big questions that you've been getting that people have? Because I think everybody's using their property management software. They probably have their systems and processes going to where they're afraid to even mess with it a little bit. They feel comfortable. They're hearing you say, hey, we can help you make things faster. We can make it better. We can help you utilize things better. We can help, we work alongside. And they're probably thinking, yeah, this is going to be really expensive. I don't know if this makes sense. I'm going to have to do something different or something new. What are some of the concerns and how are you addressing those? And maybe you can address them here so people listening, because they're probably popping up in their head.
Sure. So I'll probably revisit one of the questions you asked earlier, which I didn't address, which was, what does it look like to get started or to start working with us? Like, what is that process like? So our onboarding process, usually depending on the size of the PM, say between 2 and 4 weeks, to where we've fully taken over the accounting work off of their plate, right? So when we start working with a new client, we'll basically do a deep dive walkthrough through every single one of their processes that they have. We'll then document that process. So if they do continue to grow, or they want these policies and procedures and manuals for their own internal use, they'll have those. Then we can use those to train our additional staff as they continue to grow. So that's probably a big first step, is understanding what they do, how they do it, when it's being done, who's doing what, etc. And during that onboarding process, if we see a glaring opportunity for an improvement or an optimization, we'll help them execute it right there on the spot. But in the first instance, we're going to match what they do, so there's the least amount of disruption to their day, right? And then over time, the next 30 to 60 days, we'll have tweaked that some more and optimized it a little bit further to where they've got a smooth running, engine behind under the hood, essentially. So that's a big question for a lot of, prospects or clients that we take on, is how do we get started? How does this work? And that's, a very high level. So then, some of the
So
things
let me
we see.
recap that. So
Yeah, sure.
somebody's stressing out with accounting. They're frustrated with some of their internal processes connected to these, to their day to day. And in 2 to 4 weeks, you feel like Proper can significantly lighten their load and allow them to breathe.
Yeah. So for example, just in the last month, probably 80% of our clients had increased their unit count. And we see
That's
that continually.
80%.
Yeah. On a month-to-month basis. Obviously there's ebbs and flows. They might lose an owner, right, which drops their units. But, generally speaking, once Proper gets in there, we alleviate and free up, up to, we had one client, we freed up 35 hours a month of their time. When, and this is a seasoned property manager who was just, at the end of the day, having to review work, or if they were using another accounting partner,
and roughly how many doors did they have that they were freeing up that much time?
About 200.
Okay.
I'd say. So, not a massive one, but a, decent sized property management company. And then, working with Proper, we generally save in terms of like hard costs of head count, up to 30% of their accounting staff wages, over time, maybe on day one, right? Because if we are going to replace a team, that comes in phases, but, over time, we generally see about a 30% cost reduction, so that we can fix this cost for them, as opposed to, them running a cost center, right? They want to be making more money. So let us fix this cost for you, keep the quality, at a very high level. So that financial output and what you're delivering to your owners, we also see a significant reduction in the number of questions or queries that our clients get from owners every single month. Because now our accountants are, coming in and doing things maybe the way they should have been done before, or at a slightly better cadence or faster cadence, which helps them keep their relationships.
So what are you seeing in all the property management businesses that you're working with? How often are they sending out statements? Because rent sometimes is trickling in. Rent's it's coming in throughout the month. Sometimes it's late. Sometimes it's really late. So in these situations, what are you seeing as the frequency for invoices going out?
So it definitely ranges depending on, who it is that we're taking on board. But ultimately, during that onboarding and stabilization period, generally within 60 days or so, we have them to all reporting on the 10th of the following month. And that's a pretty standard cadence, I think, across the industry. But we make sure it's consistent. There isn't, we like to get it done by the 10th, but, sometimes it's the 15th, or sometimes it's the 20th. We try and help standardize that across all of their owners. And that might even come down to giving them some advice around, hey, you don't have this clause in your owner agreement negotiated properly. Let's help you fix that real quick. So that way you do have some consistency. There's less exceptions and less, but this one requires that and this one requires that. So again, building for scale, they can make those tweaks and continue to pile on top of what they've already built.
Very cool. So one of the questions that pops up in my head hearing about this is, I'm sure in owners giving some of this up, they're concerned about the checks and balances. How am I going to make sure everything between my management software is reconciled with my trust accounts and bank accounts and everything that's going in and out? Like, how do I make sure everything is legit and stable? Because if I'm going to hand it off to somebody, I want to feel safe that these checks and balances are in place. Otherwise, I'm going to have to check everything.
Correct.
I'm not going to feel secure.
That's a big way that we approach that is through those onboarding walkthroughs, right? When we do a deep dive into each process, whether it's, collecting rent or AP or, the owner reporting, if there's little nuances there, we go into extreme detail and we document. Like I said, we document and create a manual for that process. So then there is a consistent, agreed way of doing it. Whether we've had to make recommendations to improve it, or we say, hey, you guys have got a great process here. We just formalize it, and that way there's a clear, a clear line of yep, this is how it's going to work. And then we use tools to keep people accountable. Set reminders for say that someone on the PM side, if they haven't approved an invoice for us yet, we need to garnish their approval. We use tools that allow us to keep those people accountable so we can keep moving.
Right. Shot callers and text messages, or
we do a lot of we communicate daily pretty much with all of our clients, phone, Google Hangouts, workflow collaboration tools, things like that.
Cool.
So there's clear visibility.
Okay, so what are some of the other frequently asked questions that people give you when they're going through the sales prospect sort of process with you?
Yeah, sure. What are qualifications? What makes us, qualified to do this sort of thing? And like I said, Matt, our head of operations, we're both CPAs with extensive real estate experience at Ernst & Young. All of our accounting team, I think I mentioned this before, have got an accounting degree from college. They've worked at a Fortune 500 company or a Big Four accounting firm. So, our staff are not your run-of-the-mill bookkeepers, right? They're highly trained. They've got extensive experience. We require our team to do at least 10 hours of CP in real estate accounting every year. So that generally gives them some confidence. And then, we've gotten some clients out of a really sticky situation with back books and unreconciled accounts for, long periods of time. And if we can come in and clean that up in a very short amount of time, we had one client who had 9 months of unreconciled accounts, and we helped clean that up in about 3.5 weeks. And so when we can show our clients that we can do this for them and help them, maybe get to a point where they can sell their management company and their portfolio, that speaks volumes for the rest of the people that we talk to.
Okay, let's throw stones at some of the competition. Okay.
Sure.
So
Sure.
one of the main competitors is going to be the property manager that's like, I'm just going to go hire, because the alternative would be I'm going to go hire somebody in-house to help me with my bookkeeping or my accounting or data entry with checks and invoices and all this kind of stuff. And they bring in somebody, and they're probably one of the lowest paying members of their team, and they're trying to teach them how they do it, and it gets really messy. So I don't know if you want to say anything else. Maybe I already threw stones at it, but
no. That's good. It's definitely a challenge that we come across where they're weighing up: do we do this in house, or do we bring on a partner like you guys? What we often see or hear from people who maybe have gone down that road and then maybe come back to someone like Proper is that it's a single point of failure, right? If it's one person who is a real accountant, right? They go on vacation, things get missed, or they get tired, right? If they're growing quickly and they're not organized. So, all of those things are risks that a team like Proper doesn't let happen, because, if we need more than one person working on your portfolio, we can do that, and your pricing is still fixed. So, that's one of the ways that we help alleviate those sorts of risks from that setup. But that might be the right setup for some people.
Yeah, I'm sure every property manager that's brought anybody else in to touch anything financial in their business has noticed some really ugly mistakes that they're having to clean up. They're having to reissue owner statements. They're having to undo or apologize for notice to quit or something that went out to a tenant that shouldn't have. Let's compare this now to just going and getting an accountant. Like some of them, maybe I'm going to go hire a local accountant. They know my area. They're gonna. I'll get to know my business. Steve down the street. I'm this guy, CPA. So let's throw stones at that now.
Yep. So, the biggest downside to to that sort of scenario is that they're often doing things in arrears, right? The accountant isn't there, the CPA isn't there every day to process invoices or reconcile the bank accounts. They're usually coming in the first week of the next month to catch up on everything, right? And so if the client isn't super organized, right, then they're gonna have to be digging through things, disrupting that client, and asking them questions about stuff that happened 3 or 4 weeks ago, right? Which can be a big challenge, right? You might be able to navigate through that or create some processes, but that can be burdensome, and even more of a time suck, especially if people are on the go and not doing things the way they should be along the way. So with our teams, we're reconciling bank accounts on a daily basis as transactions go through there. We're processing invoices instantaneously as they come through. That there's benefits like that of us essentially being an extension of your team, just maybe not sitting in your office, but having the same people every day in and out doing that work for you as you go. The other thing about the sorry, Jason, the other thing about the traditional CPA firm is they'd rather do the higher margin advisory work, tax consulting. It's expensive for them to do the low level bookkeeping. So they'll do it for a relationship, but they don't necessarily like doing it. So we actually get a lot of referrals from CPA firms who have clients who need property accounting done at an affordable price.
Right. So you go get an accountant. You're likely they're looking at things after the fact. They're pointing out things you need to clean up. They're disrupting your day.
Mm-hmm.
You're having them communicate with them. You're trying to find the problem they're pointing out, rather than these things being taken care of on a day-to-day basis. I mean, if you guys catch something that's messed up within a day or even 2, it's dealt with. 30 days later, some stuff to undo is a mess.
Correct.
Okay, so what are some other alternatives to going with Proper?
Look, there's one of the things
doing it themselves.
Yeah, doing it themselves. But again, you're constantly fighting that growth battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
How to get to the next stage and leverage, right? We all look for leverage to catapult us into that next zone. So, we get a lot of clients coming to us who want to grow. They've hit the point of, I can't do anymore. I need a partner to get to the next stage. We get people who've been burned by other, accounting partners who, maybe just didn't have the same quality control. And so now they're looking for a new partner that isn't going to mess things up or they don't have to keep an eye on. And I think because we focus exclusively on property management companies, we're not doing restaurants, we're not doing e-commerce businesses, we're 100% real estate accounting. That gives them a bit of confidence in partnering with someone like us.
Got it. Yeah. If you're working with some sort of accounting bookkeeping firm and you're having to explain to them what you do, and that rent's going to come in and certain amounts going to be taken out and all this kind of a mess, and they just don't get it. And you're having to do this every time when they change the account rep that's working with you.
Yeah.
Because companies have turnover. Yeah, that can be a mess. Your team gets it. Okay.
Yeah.
So any other frequently asked questions that people coming to look at your firm would maybe want to hear on this podcast?
How quickly we can get started with people, or whether we can help them kind of retool their software stack. So we help, or actually another one we get quite a bit and gotten quite a bit recently is can you handle our overflow accounting? As in, they might already have a full accounting team who's at capacity, but they're hungry to grow and they want to buy, 4 portfolios in the next quarter at 400 or 500 units each. So can we engage you guys to help, do the mapping of the chart of accounts to our chart of accounts and the monthly accounting until we're ready to transition them from whatever software they're on now to ours. So we handle a bit of that work as well, or even, maybe some ad hoc research of, hey, which one we've outgrown this solution. What else should we look to do? So we can scope in that sort of work and continue to partner with them on their growth.
Okay, pricing. I don't know if you can really give any numbers here, but if you can give a, like, help people understand, how do you price this out? How, like,
Yep.
is this, how affordable is this? How does this work?
Yep. Great question. So our pricing scales as our clients scale up, as in the price per unit drops when the number of units continues to rise. So, we might start out someone with, $12.99 per unit who might have 100 units, something like that. But then if they get up to, 2,000 plus, you could get as low as, $6.99 per unit. And so we calculate on a monthly basis. And as the unit count fluctuates, we adjust the pricing. So it's a fixed known cost for them, each month based on their unit count. If we don't have to do, work on 100 units that they lost last month, then cool, their fee is going to reflect that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
between $12.99 a unit and $6.99 per unit per month for full suite service.
Got it. Well, no matter how you work the numbers, I'm doing math here on my screen, but
Sure.
it's going to be a lot cheaper than even a part-time employee generally will
Yep.
be that's
Yep.
handling this stuff. That's a single weak link in the chain that can be a bottleneck, that might get sick, go on vacation or whatever.
Yep.
Or yourself holding the entire company back because maybe this is not your area of genius or your life's purpose to handle all of this stuff.
Yep, exactly. And we don't necessarily provide, a la carte services around different functions of the accounting process, other than accounts payable. So we know that AP typically takes up about 60% of the time across the entire accounting function. So we can get scale on AP pretty quickly, especially with our automation. So if we've got someone who's looking to maybe test us out, try before they buy sort of thing, we might take on just AP for them, alleviate 60% of their workload, at an appropriate price point for them to handle just AP, and then move that into taking on the rest of their accounting services. Otherwise we get people who just say, yeah, no, we need this. Let's get started right now. We'll work with their team, get up to speed in a very short period of time, and then take everything off their plate.
Yeah. I mean, it is crazy to imagine that some of you property managers that are listening to this, you're dealing with some of this stuff, you're running into headaches, you're frustrated. This could be dealt with, based on what Kyle's saying here, in like a month. Like, it could be largely off your plate and your life could be infinitely easier.
It's very true. We do start taking stuff off their plate in the first, week or two.
Nice.
But that first 2 to 4 weeks, we like to really just make sure we've got a good understanding of what's going on, so that mistakes don't happen, right? So that by week 4, we're fully optimized and we're ready to roll.
Cool. Well, I've gotten to meet with you and with some of the members of your team, and I know you guys are sharp. And this sounds even better than what I thought we were going to be talking about today. So it sounds pretty exciting. I'm sure you'll get some people reaching out that are running into some difficulties. I can think of some people off the top of my head that have been complaining about some of this stuff. So should be interesting to see what traction you get from this episode.
Yeah, we love to have, and the main thing, Jason, that we want to do is really give our clients their time back, and give them the confidence and reliance on this financial output every month that they've got to deliver to their owners, without having to worry, right? We want it to be consistent, we want it to be high quality, and we want them to not have to fear about getting it right or spending time checking things. We want to be their partner in growth. So we look for clients who want to grow and are like-minded with us, to really, help kind of transform their business.
Well, I think those type of clients are my type of clients. These are the people that are focused on growth. So awesome. So, and this is the DoorGrow show. So hopefully the people listening are that type of people. So, all right. Well, Kyle, how do people get in touch with Proper? How do they get started? What's kind of the next step for those that might be listening that might be interested?
So my email is Kyle at Proper.ai, Kyle at Proper.ai. you can check out our site, Proper.ai. Shoot us a note. We'd love to do a free consultation for you, show you a little bit about how we work, and we'd be happy to put you in touch with any of our customers as well. If you want to kind of reference check us. So yeah, please reach out, and we'd love to work with anyone who's interested.
Awesome. Kyle, thanks for being on the DoorGrow Show.
Thanks for having us, Jason. Appreciate it.
Yeah.